I'm here today with Harley Scammell, a PhD candidate studying theoretical physics. So tell me, what kind of work do you do every day?
The day-to-day.
Yeah, what's the day-to-day stuff?
It's mainly solving equations, analytic equations. So the general area is quantum phase transitions.
Mm-hmm.
So this can be divided into many different ways of approaching it. You can study this experimentally, theoretically with analytic equations, or with large-scale numerical simulations. So there's a large area of people that are sort of studying this and contributing from different aspects, but my aspect would be analytics.
That sounds pretty complicated.
So
how long have you been doing that for?
I'm going up to 3.5 years of the PhD, so I'll be finished soon, a couple of months. And I also studied for 6 months during my honours on similar topics. So 4 years.
So has this sort of interest been something that you've developed in your honours year, or have you been? Because I don't even know what that kind of topic is. So
no, you don't know about that topic. Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine that you've been destined to do this for a long time.
No, that's right. You don't start uni in first or second year thinking about doing quantum critical phenomena. It was one of those things you're going along to do your honours, and there's a list of suggested problems and professors to work with, and they have ideas because you don't fully understand the literature, what might be an interesting concept to unravel. And in my second semester of honours, I got put onto this project with Oleg Sushkov and really enjoyed it. And then when it came time for a PhD, I thought, no, there's so much still to be learned for me inside this area of physics. So at the moment, this is what I'm studying.
So did you always want to do a PhD?
Yeah, I always wanted to do a PhD. I knew I was going to do a PhD, and it was going to be in physics, theoretical physics.
And did you sort of always know what you were going to do a PhD on, or did you really just wait for something to come to you?
At one stage, I think it was in second or third year, I realised what mathematical tools I'd like to be using within what area of theory in terms of the mathematical structure I'd like to be working with. And this was school quantum field theory. And then there's this doesn't limit you to any particular size or place in the universe. You could be studying cosmology with quantum field theory, or particle accelerators, or these quantum critical phenomena. So then you get to choose which subfield of physics you want to work with applying these techniques.
On your way, has there been any kind of setbacks or obstacles, or have you ever kind of reconsidered if you're going, if you're doing what you want to do, or has it always been kind of?
You do stray, so you have something in mind, things that particularly interest you, and maybe for me it was always just about more heavy on the theory, and then you spend a lot of time analysing experimental data, or you start to stray off, like a project naturally takes you in a different direction on a detour, and sometimes you can get a bit dissatisfied with this trip that you take, or you're just not getting the results you want. You're hitting a wall, and then you find a paper that's been hidden in a Russian journal for 80 years, and they do exactly what you're trying to do, but they've already done it better. Yeah. So it can really make you disheartened, but in the end, if you get the result you want, or if you really think about any detours you've taken, it's like, ignore the Russian journal comment, but a detour you take into like analysing things in a different way than you wanted, then you've actually picked up a different set of skills, and you learn to appreciate that, and then it gives you a chance to talk to other people who don't work in your particular field, like discussing with experimentalists. If you start to think the way they think, then you can have more productive collaboration. So I'd say yes, there's been initial time to, oh no, this isn't quite the way I wanted to play out, and then in the end, I've either justified it or just really enjoyed the detail.
Yeah. And if you could sort of go back to, say, first year, what would you do differently?
Well, I mean, one of the things that comes out of studying a PhD, and even honours, but mainly from a PhD, is that you figure out quickly how to absorb a lot more information. So I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to take that back with me to the first year, how to absorb information in a much more efficient manner.
Let's say that, yeah.
This is one pretty bad answer, but Not too much. I sort of enjoyed all the courses I took, and I mean towards some of the later years when I'd had a few classes on in one day, let's say I had only 1 hour, I wouldn't come in, and I miss that face-to-face learning and that opportunity to ask questions to a professor. That's hard to get out of the textbook. But actually, just talk my way to a point. I think I was always too worried to ask a question in class. Often you just can't think of a good question in class, but the professor or the lecturer or your tutor, they want interaction with you, otherwise they really start to slow down and it gets a bit mundane for them. But if you give that to them, they'll provide you with some different insight that you couldn't have possibly thought of. Some interconnections.
That's a good point. What do you sort of see in your future? Kind of, where do you think this is going to take you?
Well, on the current trajectory, it seems that I'll be applying to do postdoctoral work, so it's pretty much the same thing, but no thesis at the end. You just continuously write papers, which is an exciting prospect because typically you go overseas for this. I might go to Europe or maybe America and work there. And then what you do is you sort of dart around these different roles for a while and build enough papers and a knowledge base, and then try and settle down as an academic at some particular university. So I'm at this stage, I've had such a clean run of academia, really enjoyed it, that I think this seems natural, and I enjoy the teaching side as well, so this seems something I'll probably consider. And
what sort of non-technical kind of skills would you say have helped you? Sort of like personality or non-science related skills?
Well, I'd say what the big thing, I spent a lot of time working in hospitality. So for the the whole 4 years of my undergrad and honours, I was working in a nightclub first, which is not so good, but then working in a nice restaurant as a bartender and a waiter. This helps you with like time management stress. So you're always under constant stress there. Someone's like, oh, you forgot my meal. You give me the wrong meal. You've got to quickly do it. Then you've got an angry chef to tell you otherwise. But this was really good because it's not your science brain and you're not working on technical skills, but learning how to deal with people under pressure, even if irrespective of who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And you just learn sort of how to talk to people, and I think this has helped me, at least definitely with teaching, especially larger classes. And dealing with professors, you go to conferences overseas, and the idea is to network and meet people so you can publish papers together and you can generate more ideas. If you can't talk to people, it becomes a little bit harder to sort of strike up that initial conversation. So I'm not saying I'm an expert at that, but at least it's gone some way of helping build up these skills of working in restaurants.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's all we've got time for today. So thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
We appreciate what you've said.